pioneered a path to the moon. The trail we blazed cut through the fictions of science and showed us all what was possible.
Very pretty out here.
Today our calling to explore is even greater. To go farther, we must be able to sustain missions of greater distance and duration. We must use the resources we find at our destinations. We must overcome radiation, isolation, gravity, and extreme environments like never before. These are the challenges we face to push the bounds of humanity. We're going to the moon to stay by 2024, and this is how.
All right, giving all praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem HaRachawadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, very great millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So don't forget this. 5 years ago, I remember like it was yesterday. That's how you know time is flying. In 2019, they put this video up and said proudly that they're going back to the moon and to stay by 2024. Well, needless to say, that's not going to happen. Nor will it ever happen in your kingdom. All right, that privilege is reserved for the Israelites. And now they look like fools. You see, this is how the Lord makes these heathen. This is how the Lord brings down these heathen. This is how he brings them down. Right? He makes their counsel to fail. And in doing so, it shows that they are at their end. And this is also something that Trump said during the same time. It said Trump hails Mars as NASA's next target, says the moon, not so exciting. Quote, we're going to Mars, Trump told reporters after the White House meeting with Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Mars, Trump has added, is a more exciting target than the moon. We're stopping at the moon. The moon is actually a launching pad, Trump said. That's why we're stopping at the moon. I said, hey, we've done the moon, so that's not so exciting. So we'll be doing the moon, but we'll really be going to Mars. Now, this is just a proud speech. And really, this is it was just something that they have to really say something to the people, because the question of how come they never went back to the moon, like I said, it's been over 50 years. And they couldn't come up with an answer. So they just came up with that answer and basically said, give us 5 more years to do something that we apparently did with ease. And back in over 50 years ago. And what I always like to note is it wasn't no one-time trip. If you look it up, apparently they went back and forth a number of times within the space of 2 years. And they gathered their so-called information and they put it in books, and now it's actually a part of a lot of curriculums and certain studies if you was to like go to school or something. Like if you was to take a physics class, they're going to make you learn about how fast will something fall from, the height of a tree, and then how fast will it fall from the moon. If you were standing on the moon, shall I say. If you were standing on the moon and you drop something, how fast would it fall? And they'll tell you, because when Neil Armstrong said when he jumped out, he dropped the pin and he noticed that how fast it was falling, blah, 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 which is all a lie. So a lot of people's degrees, a lot of people actually had to learn a bunch of false information because the information was never gathered the correct way. You understand? And people are asking the questions. So this is why the Lord, by distance of time, this is how he makes the wisdom of teaming fall. All he has to do is just let time do his thing. And then people start to ask the questions. And now people will actually admit, yeah, that never happened. And that whole thing was staged. It was just a green screen production. It was a lie. Why did they do that? Because they wanted Esau Edom, the so-called white man in America, wanted to be the first nation to say that they did such a thing, that they overcome the odds and they did such a thing. And this is why we're the greatest country in the world. That's one of their so-called achievements that they use to say, yep, this is why we're the greatest country in the world. We're the only country that actually went to the moon. That was a lie. And that shows that their pride of their height was at all-time high. But that's exactly why the Lord brought them down. 1969 is a significant year for the downfall of the U.S., of Babylon. Isaiah 44:24 says, "Thus said the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee in the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward, and maketh their knowledge foolish." So this is the power of the Lord. This is how he brings down the so-called wise and the great in the society. This is how he brings them down, by proving that you are just a liar. And all that time and money and movies that you done made circling a lie. And now here we are over 50 years later, and we can see the lie for what it is. And you know, it's funny, some people actually, it's Jake too. I mean, people in general that live here, they're in denial. They don't want to accept that that didn't happen because they really want to believe in it. You know what I'm saying? People still say that, well, I mean, look, we went to the moon. What great things. Like, come on now. You know that's a damn lie. And if you tell them, like, dude, clearly that didn't happen, man. They don't want to accept it because deep down they want to believe that, man, I just thought this country was great. And I thought we really did achieve a certain level and that we are achieving another level. It's not happening, man. It's only going to happen with us in the kingdom. That privilege is reserved for the Israelites. Okay. It says he gave Esau, Edom, a limit. Job 14:5 says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are hidden. It's like the number of his months are with thee.
Tap the chest to see what you get.
It's like it was an ad. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So he has a certain day, he has a certain time, he has a certain second of his kingdom, and that's when the Lord is going to bring him down. And even within his kingdom, he has limitations. And the Lord put a bound on Esau, Edom. He did not give him the technology or the knowledge to be able to bypass the Earth's radiation belt. He never did it. It was a damn lie. And that's why we're not going to forget that. So don't forget what they just said in their video there by NASA. Now, I'm willing to bet once Trump get in office, they're going to try to come up with another excuse to keep the lie going. You see, they're at the end. They're at their end. You understand? There's a Job 5:14, verse 13. I'm sorry, 12. It says, he appointeth the devices. It's like he disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. So he disappointed the devices of the crafty, and he make it there where their hands will not perform their enterprise. Their enterprise is they lied because back in 1969, because they truly thought in the pride of their heart that they would come up with a way to do it. They thought that they could just buy some time. So they'll just every now and then throw some BS excuses out there. Oh, we're taking the time now to study this, study that. They're just throwing it out there but over 50 years, people are now demanding an answer. So what do? Out of desperation, say, give us 5 more years. Well, as you can see, we're at the end of 2024 and it never happened. And they never spoke up on it, about it. They're basically just hoping that nobody ever asks about it. But we're not going to forget. This is a blot to your pride. This is what makes you look foolish because you're not this wise people that you thought you were. This is how the Lord brings this man down. He does it. He does things surgically. Right? It's like that game where you build with blocks and then each person take a turn pulling the block out, trying not to make the thing fall. I forget the name of the game. I think it starts with the J. That's how the Lord brings this place apart, piece by piece. He's hitting your pride. He's hitting your economy. He's hitting your ego. He's hitting your military. He's hitting your dollar. He's hitting it slow, piece by piece. You're going to inherit shame at the same time. And then when the time is appointed, when at the very last time of your appointment, when you reach that time, when you reach that clock, when you run out of sand in the hourglass, when you hit that last second, that hour, that minute, that's when the Lord is going to bring you down. But first, you must be broken down piece by piece. And he's starting with your pride and your so-called wise men. I looked up the word grope. It means to feel, as it says, is feel about or search blindly or uncertainly with the hands. So, it's like you're walking in the dark room and you're just got your hands out because you're trying to feel anything. That's what they do. So they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night, meaning they're just completely lost. They're in darkness because the Lord taketh them in their own craftiness. Because in their pride, they honestly, truly did believe that they would have cracked the code. But they can't do it because the Lord didn't give them the knowledge to do that. Because the fact of the matter is they cannot send the actual human being beyond the Earth's radiation field. They call it the Van Allen belts, but it's really just the Earth's radiation belt. Without getting cooked, you'll get fried in an instant. They can't send a person through there. But remember, they've apparently done it several times already. This is a blot. This is the Lord slowly taking you apart. Jeremiah 49:7, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? And Teman, as the apostle like to explain, represents the Germans, which are actually the smartest, you could say, engineering-wise, of the Edomites. They're supposed to be the smart people. But if it says there's no more wisdom in Teman, it says, is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Yes. Yes, you see, so where is this knowledge and this great wisdom that you people are just so, that you have? Where is this technology and where is this innovation and human ingenuity that brought you to be the best country on the planet because you beat the odds and you did the impossible, which was go to the moon. And then as you heard Trump proudly, boastfully, we ain't just going to the moon, but we going to Mars. Where's all that at? Oh, it never happened. And oh, it's not going to happen. So how are you going to address it? Okay. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 3, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So their counsel is failing. They're seeking to anybody that they know who they believe like they're scientists, anybody who they believe they could perform some type of miracle or witchcraft or whatnot. That shows desperation. That shows your counsel has failed. So now you're seeking your charmers and your wizards, which can represent, like I said, your doctors, your engineers, your physicists, whatever it is, you're seeking for somebody to come up with some kind of answer, and they don't have one. Why? Because the Lord has taken the wise in their own craftiness. This is how he brings you down. This is how he makes you to look like a fool. Psalms 33:10, the Lord Yahweh bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. This is how he exposes these people for who they are. You Edomites, you're just that. You're just the Edomites. You're the seed of the wicked. You are the vessels of dishonor Too long have you lied and deceived the people by deceit. Now it's just time for the truth to be revealed. People are seeing you for who you truly are and who you always were. All this stuff you're talking about, like the Palestinians and what you want to do to them and all this, people act in shock, but this is how you always were. It's just now everybody's seeing it. People just finally seeing exactly the type of people who you were and who you always were. It's just the wool is being taken from their eyes, thus saith the Lord. He's going to make the whole world see you for who you really are. You are just the wicked, a vessel of dishonor, a liar, a deceiver, a snake. And he's taking you in your own craftiness. So the things you boast of, the things you proudly proclaim that you're going to do, now it holds no weight because you proudly said that you were going back. So now you're going to have to address, or maybe you won't ever address it. You're going to have to address one of the greatest deceptions that you've ever committed on the planet. You're going to have to answer to the failed achievement that you apparently already did. You're going to have to answer to these things. See, this is how the Lord, he's cornering this man. He's cornered. And I'm loving every second of it, man. Call all y'all by Shem Shai. Look what the caption says. We're going to the moon to stay by 2024. No, you're not. And honestly, the only place you're going is into slavery. Now, that's a fact. So don't forget. Shalom.